And here we go. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Well, the president-elect is spending Thanksgiving in Florida, and Democrats are spending this Thanksgiving in disbelief.
Yep, they surely are. In fact, you have some of the nation's top computer experts urging Hillary Clinton now to call for a recount in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania because they say they found evidence that the vote totals could have been hacked, but found no actual evidence of hacking.
And Democrats are also frustrated because Hillary Clinton's lead over Mr. Trump in the popular vote has now surpassed 2 million votes, and President Obama's approval ratings just hit a 7-year high.
But the Democrats crashed in Florida and up in the Rust Belt as well, and that cost them the election. So I wonder how historians may explain all of this to our kids.
Funny you should ask, because tonight we have a Trail of Tales for that in the spirit of Ken Burns, of course.
It's time now for Trail Tales.
General Clinton had fought her battles for nearly 25 years. She took fire from Whitewater to the Rose Law Firm to the White House Travel Office, but her loyalists always counted with ruthless precision.
Ain't nothing to the Whitewater. Ain't nothing to the Whitewater. James Carville.
But by the spring of 2016, her Republican enemies attacked from every angle. As the Trumpians prepared their invasion, the general still faced an insurrection from within.
It's going to be messy, Democracy is not always nice and quiet and gentle.
Bernard Sanders was a small state senator when the war began. In less than a year, he ascended to supreme commander of the Democratic insurrection.
Now is the time for Brother Bernie and his pathetic voice to be heard across our crisis-ridden country, Dr. Cornel West.
While the Sanders Rebellion demanded power, Union forces demanded answers from General Clinton about the official letter she sent through private mail. Desperate to move beyond the distractions and contradictions, Clinton coined a popular war hymn.
That was a mistake. I'm sorry about that. I take responsibility. But I'm sorry that it...
Her adversaries would not let up. The Sanders Rebellion spread west within a fortnight and encroached into Clinton's stronghold of Hollywood.
It's so insulting to women to think that you would follow a candidate just because she's a woman. Susan Sarandon.
The Sanders Rebellion set its sight on California, rousing the debt-ridden masses with promises of free college and medicine.
You go to the doctor when you need to go to the doctor.
But just as Sanders prepared his march to Philadelphia, the superdelegates swept in and declared the war was over.
The party insiders basically said, it's our party, we'll do what we want. War is hell.
What happens next will test the character for all of us, Republican, Democrat, and Independent. Senator Elizabeth Warren. P.S. Trump better stop calling me Pocahontas.
Well, there's that. He did stop calling her Pocahontas.
Yeah, so maybe things are looking up now for the Democrats, or not. By the way, we put together a whole 7-part mockumentary on the War of 2016, and you can watch the whole series on our YouTube channel. Search for Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics and click subscribe at the top of the page. You can also catch up on state politics, the national transition in Washington, and our investigations of money and politics.
And that includes our investigation of a federal drug program you may not believe.
Yeah, we're talking about the same federal government that bans marijuana. It also gives it out to people at taxpayer expense.
When you stroll down this South Florida beach, you may notice the manicured palms and rolling waves. Maybe the sailboat on the horizon. Or the lady opening a large tin full of pot. She smokes in plain view. Around 10 joints a day. Who is your dealer?
Uncle Sam is my supplier.
That's right. The same federal government that claims marijuana has no accepted medical use has sent Elvie Mashika nearly 100,000 joints. She gets them to treat her glaucoma for free.
The epitome of hypocrisy and stupidity.
And she's not alone. Irvin Rosenfeld lives near Fort Lauderdale, just down the road from Elvie.
Says you use marijuana cigarettes 10 times daily.
He's a stockbroker with a bone tumor disorder who may have set the record for smoking joints from Uncle Sam.
I would guess that I'm up to about 135,000.
The feds have sent him a drum of marijuana every month since 1982, when Reagan told the rest of us to just say no.
Marijuana, pot, grass, whatever you want to call it, is probably the most dangerous drug in the United States.
The United States federal government has been supplying me 10 marijuana cigarettes per day for almost 33 years. And in the same vein, arresting people for possession or using the same substance that they give me for medical use.
And trafficking marijuana can get you up to life in prison.
Oh, what? This? That you send me 10 a day?
What would happen to the person who shipped this if it wasn't the federal government?
Let me put it this way, I won't even ship it to myself, and it's mine.
Yeah, but again, check out our full investigation of this program on our YouTube channel. Meantime, it's time to head over to the kitchen table for Kitchen Table Politics with a password challenge twist. Marissa's moved over to the control room, and I'm heading over to the kitchen table with Charlie and Russell. She's going to give each of us a special password in our ears that the others cannot hear, and we'll have to work those phrases into a serious discussion. Politics. Here we go. All right, well, we're going to talk some politics, or we have to do or say whatever Marissa tells us there's controls.
Ambrosia.
Be left to healthcare. I mean, they're not saying at this point, but we know what the promises were during the campaign.
It's just a bunch of promises. They're all mixed together like some big ambrosia where you have this fruit and that fruit and it all comes bundled together and you don't know what's going to survive the ambrosia. But
gobble, gobble.
To healthcare.
Up Obamacare, like we carve up our Thanksgiving turkey, gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah.
What's going to be left? I don't know. And are we going to fight over the wishbone? Are we going to fight? Are they grabbing a leg here and a leg there, grabbing?
Yeah. It's just starting.
Yeah.
It is just
Appalachian State.
The Democrats are so overmatched in Washington, given the defeat they took at the election. I mean, it's almost like University of Florida, Florida State playing Appalachian State on homecoming, where there just isn't much resistance that they can put up at this point.
They put up resistance.
Well, they'll put it up. They just can't get very far. Maybe in the Senate they can hold some things up.
Dinosaur.
Now they got to figure out to come together and what they're going to do as the next step.
They're getting a stink. I mean, they're going to be like the dinosaur if they don't reinvent themselves. If
Jell-O.
Jell-O that just kind of oozed all across the map.
Cranberry sauce.
Up here. They didn't have the organization. Yeah. Well, it was cranberry sauce, if not Jell-O, but I would say it's more Jell-O because it
looked like somebody poured gravy across that map, and the gravy was Trump taking all this. It was Trump's winning the state. It was. I always forget, is it red or blue? I get my colors mixed
Republicans are red. That's the way I remember.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Trump was like, yo, yo, let's go. I got this. We'll do it. And he did.
Busch Gardens.
And he did.
And Jeb Bush thought he had a chance at this. He was going to grow this great big empire, this Busch Gardens, but he wound up with, Busch Mountain, the only flat roller coaster in the world. And so Donald Trump came along, and there you go. And so
mashed potatoes.
Get very far. Maybe in the Senate they can hold some things up. But
Democrats are feeling like mashed potatoes. That's a better analogy. Yeah. They were mashed in the election. Sure. They were these spuds that thought they were growing their eyes and going to take root. Nope, they were mashed. They're a big bowl of mashed potatoes, and now they got to figure out to come together and what they're going to do as the next step.
Pepe McTurkey.
But we didn't. We all pulled into the Cafe McTurkey, ordered a burger.
And got the burger at the Cafe McTurkey, and suddenly that's where we find ourselves at the close of 2016. All right, Russell, Charlie, thank you so much for your time. Good to see you.
Did we all win? I think we all won.
We all won.
We all got a trophy.
Woo! Trophies for everyone.
All right, that was good. Thank you. Not as easy as it looks. Coming up, our Pulitzer Prize winning journalist Charlie LeDuff has a holiday story you do not want to miss. Okay, well, a couple of years ago, Charlie LeDuff did a story about a feisty old lady from Detroit who needed help and her neighbor who would not take no for an answer.
And as we head into Thanksgiving and the holiday season, we want to show you what happened next.
When I'm feeling down and put out, I like to drive through the city's neighborhoods. It lends a certain perspective. And so I was driving on Gratiot the other day and came across an old crumbling house near the airport. An old woman named Annie once lived there. We did a story about her a few years ago.
I stayed here no matter what happened. I used to hear noises, but I did the best I could. Like I told you, I'd pray. That's all I could do was pray.
Annie was a recluse, a shut-in. No heat, no water, at the mercy of the elements and the criminals, and loneliness. I wondered, what had become of the old girl?
been how many years now?
3?
3 years. She's still living there. She's getting by. She has heat and water and light, so there's not too much more.
You might remember Harold too, Annie's neighbor for decades. Harold never liked Annie much, but she is a human being, and in that way, you might say, Harold loves Annie. And along with your help, Harold got Annie a heater and water those 3 Christmases ago. Harold boarded her windows and cleaned out her mania. That's called decency. That's something we could use a little more of.
Annie.
That's always a worry that she locks something up and gets sick and can't get out.
Annie. Annie. Are you in there? She's here.
I was worried for a second.
Yeah, so was I. I don't know, geez.
Well, you look a lot happier and younger now.
Yeah, I just had a shot of liquor.
I like your socks.
You like a top? Okay.
What are those, hats?
Yeah, I turn them into boots. Keep my feet warm. I've always got the bed. My bed is now nice and warm. I hate to get up in the morning.
You just want to say thank you to all the people that helped you. A lot of people helped me help you.
Yeah, like who?
Just different people from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
People from out of the suburbs came in. They donated their labor, picking up. They just did a lot of different things. They gave money to buy your sheets or that I put on your bed and that. So now's your chance to say thank you.
When you give to others, God blesses you in many, many ways. You want my key, huh? Now?
Yeah,
now?
and I'll bring it back with a sandwich.
All right.
Give me your keys.
And with the stepladder.
Yeah, I'll get the stepladder too.
But you gotta steal it away from him because he's always using it. All right, wait. I'll get it for you.
Okay, you do that.
Bye, Eddie.
I'm not leaving.
This holiday season, whether you celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, or the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, or the rededication of the Hebrew Temple, it's worth remembering that the meaning of life is also found in one another. And if you can't remember that, just remember an old man and an old woman in an old house in an old part of town.
He knows I have no family here, And every time I got something, at a different church, I always give it to him. To me, he was special, And a good man. I got everything.
You got everything.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
And Harold.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Okay, coming up, we'll show you how the election is driving up some stocks more than others.
Matt Towery, our pollster and author of Newsvesting, has some thoughts on how to invest through the transition.
Wow, Dow stabilized 27.16, 1990. Swing trading.
We're on air.
Oh, we're just reading Newsvesting. It's incredible investing tips here. If only we had the fellow who... Oh, look who's here. It's Matt Towery, the author of Newsvesting.
We're checking for typos. I know what you're doing.
Yeah, Matt Towery is not just our Fox 13 pollster, but also an investing guru who gives us investing advice, takes a look at the news cycle and how it affects your pocketbook, how you can invest. So tell us about the election.
Well, we're money, power, politics. Well, money's part of that. It looks like to me that Donald Trump coming in has been really good for some sectors and really bad for others. The bond market has taken a big hit. There's been a rotation back into some stocks, and you've seen the Dow Jones go up, guys, which no one thought was going to happen. You remember the night of the election, at one point, the S&P futures were down hundreds and hundreds of points.
Yeah.
But before you could race out and take advantage of it, it had all raced and come back up the next day. So there is a sort of a Trump positive flow of the market right now, but it's in certain areas. It's areas like infrastructure companies related to defense, they're going to do well. Areas related to companies like steel and the like, and sort of out right now from the sort of the technology stocks, which did so well under Barack Obama, and quite frankly, a lot of the laws and regulations that were written during that time period inured to their benefit.
It makes sense with his background as a businessman, correct?
Absolutely. I've always said this, and I say it in news vesting. You follow who the president likes and who the president works with. And in this instance, we had a president with Obama, for example, who worked very closely with Google. When it came time to make the net neutrality rules, he basically nudged the regulatory agency in the direction of Google, and Google shares went up through the roof. Now you have a president-elect who knows how to build things, talks about infrastructure, wants to build the military out. Well, it's not hard to figure out where to go invest your stock and your money in terms of equities.
Okay, you know Newt Gingrich well.
Yes, I do.
I need you to squeal right here in our show. What's he going to do in the administration?
Well, you know, he keeps trying to signal. I was his chairman when he was Speaker of the House. He keeps trying to signal to everyone what he's going to do, but I think the press can't figure it out. Newt Gingrich wants to be the planner for the federal government. He wants to basically take the broad view and go to various agencies and departments and say, okay, here are your problems. Let me look at how you operate, and here's how we need to reorganize. He wants to report only to the President of the United States. And it is my understanding, a little bird has told me, that the President of the United States-elect agreed to this many months ago. Newt also wants to continue, though, to write books and to do other things because Newt Gingrich is a man of all seasons. He's a Renaissance man. And I don't think he's really wanting to be a cabinet position type person at this point and stage in his life.
All right, Matt Towery, thank you for the insight.
You got it.
And for squealing.
Yeah, sorry, Newt.
All right, and coming up, why do presidents pardon turkeys? How did that start? And do they really get to live their lives on a farm? Coming up.
Congratulations. Hey. Right on cue.
Well, President Obama pardoned 2 turkeys this afternoon. Tater and Tot were their names. It's the final time he'll be pardoning turkeys before he leaves office.
It will be, but this is a tradition goes back many years. This sort of started, was inspired by Abraham Lincoln, who apparently spared a turkey, his son's turkey. But from there, you move on to Harry Truman. Look at that. Is that Tater or Tot?
We don't know.
Whatever the case, it goes on to Harry Truman, who did pardon a turkey, but we learned through the Truman Library they didn't actually head to a farm. They headed to the slaughterhouse. Then comes Kennedy, the first to really save the life of a turkey in a formal ceremony, as we know. And then it became formalized as we know it today with George Herbert Walker Bush, Bush 41, and so goes the story, and so goes our show tonight.
These ones are going to Virginia Tech, though.
They are.
They will.
Very good. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night.